Introducing our speaker, Mr. Teja Gudluru. He is one of India's leading voices on career growth, leadership, and the future of work. A TEDx speaker, author, and entrepreneur, he brings 20 plus years of global experience, having worked across 55 countries, impacted 35,000 plus professionals, and partnered with 100 plus organizations. He is the founder of Activity, a learning engagement and intelligence platform focused on turning learning into real action and impact. TEDx at Tulas Internet.
I want to tell you a story about a jackal. It was a far, far away, a forest, and at night, a jackal was being chased by a set of predators. The jackal panicked, didn't know what to do, started running. The jackal ran. It was just instinctive, I guess, to save its life. Goes into a nearby village and jumps into a blue-dyed water, perhaps put there by a washerman. The predators go away. The jackal slowly comes out, and now it finds itself in a new form. It's all blue. It looks at the new identity that it has now, feels very happy, and also a bit confused because the jackal isn't sure how it's going to be accepted once it goes back to the jungle. So it starts going into the jungle. Suddenly, all the animals spot this new blue creature that they've never seen before. So they start asking curious questions. Who are you? The jackal could have said, I am the same old jackal, but suddenly all the attention that the jackal was getting changed its mind a little bit. So the jackal now tells everybody, I'm new. And everybody starts believing it. Everybody starts celebrating this new found blue creature in the forest. All was going fabulously well for the jackal until it stopped. One night, all the other jackals nearby, all the pack, started howling. Natural to the species. This blue fellow, the newfound blue jackal, suddenly wakes up, hears the howling. It's instinctive to the species, so this fellow also starts howling. What happens is the reality of the jackal's identity comes out. The jungle no longer cared about this jackal. The jackal, of course, felt lost, now not too sure what to do with the jackal's life. This may be a fictitious story, but trust me, a lot of this is happening to a lot of us even today. Somewhere in a classroom, there's a 10-year-old boy. The teacher asked the entire class, what do you want to become when you grow up? Everybody is raising hands. Teacher, I want to be a YouTuber. I want to become an engineer. I want to become a doctor. This boy is not too sure what to choose yet. But not answering feels like a failure. So he raises his hand and says something anyway. A 17-year-old girl somewhere is scrolling through her phone. All she sees all around her is success. Everybody is doing well. Everybody is celebrating some sort of a life. Everybody is clicking pictures of some destination that they've been to. Now she feels left out. In more Gen Z terms, perhaps, a FOMO, fear of missing out. So what does she do? She starts uploading pictures every day, wants to tell the world that she is happy, perhaps even on those days when she isn't. Because fitting in feels right. Because fitting in is celebrated today. There's a 20-year-old boy somewhere studying engineering, trying different things, but constantly being told, why don't you put your mind on one thing? Why are you always confused? One day it's a software course. One day you want to learn guitar. One day you want to be like Messi. What the hell is wrong with you? The feeling of being lost is not new to us. For generations, we felt lost. But it seems to me that feeling lost in today's generation is a lot more painful. Right? Because These stories that I've been talking about isn't really about lying. These stories aren't about deception. There's something more in this that I noticed, and that's fear. The fear of missing out, the fear of judging or being judged, the fear of disappointing somebody else's expectations on you. But we constantly seem to be living in that fear. So when we talk about feeling lost in this current age, what if I were to tell you it perhaps isn't such a bad thing? In the world of AI, maybe, just maybe, feeling lost is a superpower. Why do I say that? See, back in the day, for generations together, we rewarded certainty. We liked people who had clear paths. But the point was, those generations also had limited opportunities. The question of career choice wasn't very complicated back in the day. There were only a few things that were possible, especially in India post-independence. We've only had a few opportunities that people could do. So the fact of what you choose as a career was primarily binary to the most part. You either do engineering, you do medicine, or you get into public services. Today, those options are plenty. So certainty can sometimes be your kryptonite, if I can use that word, for people who understand that. Because what the world rewards today is curiosity. The jobs that existed 5 years ago no longer exist today. And I'm not even sure if my loyalty of spending 15 years for an organization will actually be rewarded with a promotion or a layoff. So we live in a world where nothing is certain. Back in the day, certainty was a strength. I'll give you an example. Humans have been explorers ever since the species came into being. We loved navigating the oceans. Many, many, many generations ago, people looked at stars, and the stars gave direction to them. Not the path, just the direction. They still had to navigate the path. And only a few people understood how to read those stars, and they were called expert navigators, and everybody celebrated them. Then came a compass. Again, quite accurate directions, the path people still had to figure out. And then came physical paper maps. Set directions, set address, everything was set, which means if you lost your way, you're lost. You really had to struggle to figure out your way back because your current position was never known. You had to figure it out. Today, the world has GPS. In GPS, you just have to plug in your destination. And after that, it doesn't judge you anymore. You're going slow, it'll update the time it takes for you to reach. Right? It'll give you multiple options and a choice of which direction you should take. The destination is still the same, but the paths, multiple. You get lost, you take a wrong turn, it's not judging you and say, I'm not going to work for you anymore. It's going to silently reroute and tell you it's okay. I figured out another route for you. In the world of AI, that's the power of choice that kids today have. So AI, while it broke that definition of certainty, feeling lost, the definition of that started changing. Imagine this. You're on your phone, you're scrolling something. This is not advisable, but it happens all the time. You're scrolling on your phone, you're walking because you think you know the path. You take a wrong turn, and you suddenly realize you're not where you're supposed to be. What happens to you? You get startled, you panic a little bit, but something else beautiful that happens. You start becoming more aware of surroundings around you. You start looking around and noticing a lot many things because this is not a familiar territory. And perhaps you even ask somebody for a direction. Once you go back to the main road that you had to take, perhaps you go back to your phone again and start scrolling. But there is no judgment. in any of this. There's no complaining or feeling bad or depressed that I'm lost because the stakes involved there were smaller. But in the age of AI era, if you're feeling lost, why do I call it a superpower? Because feeling lost in the current era is awareness. Awareness that you need help, awareness that perhaps you need to find alternatives. And that is where AI becomes your absolutely valued partner, because AI knows ways. What AI doesn't do, though, is it doesn't respond to your curiosity. It responds to your certainty. The way I look at all your lives, and I wish I had that when I was growing up, the way I look at all you young kids' lives is more like a video game. In a video game, the modern day video games, what happens? When you open the game, you're a player, you have a certain role, you have a certain activity to achieve. But you can't see what is going to come up in the entire game. You can only see the game as much as your screen fits it. As you start moving, it starts opening up. As you start acting, it starts responding to it based on your actions. If you stop there wanting and waiting for things to happen, the game doesn't progress. But there's also another beautiful thing about video games. While you're on this path of that destination, there are a little side activities that you could do to get more coins, more points. Because in the future in the game, if you were to fall down, you have a lifeline that you've collected. The same thing is with KBC and Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Till date, there has not been one single winner on a KBC or a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire who hasn't taken a lifeline. Not till date. The reason is you can't do it all alone. And for the age the youth is today, you can't figure all of it out. Not just yet, at least. So what do? You use AI to your advantage and build on skills. Because this is not really AI versus youth. It is AI being the video game and you being the player. Because a game rewards movement, not stagnation. Do whatever it feels like. Right now, you may not have figured what you want to be. But do whatever you feels like, because locking yourself into one identity is never the answer. What AI lacks today is something that you have. And some of the speakers have spoken about it before me. AI has all the answers. What you have is a superpower with AI. AI, remember this, AI doesn't have the burden of a career. AI doesn't have a burden of your parents' expectations. All AI has is ready answers. Have you ever noticed AI telling you a no? It is not trained to tell you a no. If I go and say, here's my favorite politician, tell me 5 nice things about him, it will do such great, deep research that it will give you points that even you don't know. Write the next prompt, say, I want to know 5 terrible things about this politician. Guess what? It will do deep research and tell you some dirty, dark secrets about this guy that you didn't know ever. AI doesn't know how to differentiate sometimes. It only knows how to respond. And that's where you become important. You figure out. So if I'm lost, I want to try 10 things, try all of them. Try all of them. Use AI to guide you in that pathway. Because today is a world where we don't celebrate specialists anymore. Ask any HR in any organization, they'll tell you this. There was a time when HR departments, for an example I'm telling you, had multiple people working with multiple competencies. There was one for comp and benefits. There was one for recruitment. There was one for employee benefits. Today, they're expected to do all the 4 together. Specialization is a thing, or soon becoming the thing of the past. So try everything anyway. Be that software engineer for all you care, but also focus on something else. If you love creativity, become a designer, edit those videos. Do anything, but stay on the path, keep moving. Because when you lock yourself too early into an identity, that's where you're bound to feel lost like that jackal. Because sometimes the pain of feeling lost is a lot less than the burden of pretending to be somebody else that you're not. And that's where AI gives you certainty. Be clear on what you want to, but even if you're not clear, keep moving anyway, because the game opens up only when you move. So today, as I end my talk, to all these lovely young friends in the audience and the ones that are watching the video, I have just one thing to say. You're not behind anybody in this AI world. Today, there are people without graduation degrees who are making a lot of money because they pursued their interest of designing and editing videos. So remember this always, my young friends. You're never behind. You're just in the process of becoming. Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu. Thank you.